A soil's capacity to support production depends on the diversity of soil life in it. Ag Research Grasslands is developing an index to give farmers a benchmark to compare their soils with. By using the index, changes in soil management can be introduced, improving soil quality and productivity. PhD student Nicole Schon has been working on the index. Dr Alec Mackay explains.
Nicole's come in doing a PhD, and the title of her PhD was Developing an Invertebrate Index for Pastoral Soils. She's here some capacity building, so we're building science capability in the area of soil biology. But importantly, Nicole's building an index to be able to assess what biology our soils have. In addition to earthworms, she's looking at mesofauna, nematodes, and all the way down to bacteria and fungi indirectly. So she's actually broadening it out beyond earthworms, which is just part of our soil biology. Nicole's index could provide you with the ability to assess what your biology have and what opportunities there are to actually add biology that was missing or could contribute further to the productive capacity of your soils. Often you'll find when you're digging in a dairy pasture or a sheep and beef pasture, you'll often only find one of the three functional groups you'd ideally like to have in that soil. In those three functional groups, you've got a group that are active on the surface, feeding on the surface and casting on the surface, a group that's active in the root zone, and then a functional group that are deep burrowers that go down quite a while into the profile. Farmers are already bioengineering in many ways. Biocontrols would be one good example. The recent release of a biocontrol agent for the clover root weevil is an example of that. Nitrogen inhibitors, that's really just blocking a real process. And so I could see adding sort of bioengineering below ground, introducing earthworms, looking at introducing other useful organisms is an area that we probably haven't explored at all.
Is there any activity in there at the moment?
There's not much going on there actually.
I'm surprised there's not.
I've got in front of us three examples of the three functional groups of earthworms. If we start on this end here, this here is rubellus, and it lives in, if we look at this picture here, if this here is the soil, rubellus lives in the topsoil and it feeds on the litter. It doesn't form many burrows. If we go to this next one, this is Kilogenosa, and it lives in the topsoil and it forms semi-permanent burrows. But it's this deep burrowing one which is quite often absent in particularly the hill countries in New Zealand, and this deep burrowing one forms a deep vertical burrow down through the soil, and it pulls the litter down from the grass, from the topsoil and down into the profile, incorporating the organic matter. And these ones here are a little bit fatter, so they form bigger burrows. Okay, so what I was looking at under the microscope is what I call the mesofauna, and that includes mites and springtails. And these are quite small. You can still see them with the visible eye. If you look through this sort of mulch here that I found, you can see a whole lot of springtails, these little white things here, but it's very hard to count them when you look at them like this, so you have to extract them. The nematodes, they're smaller again, and you'd struggle to see that with the naked eye. So I suspend them into water because they live on water films in the soil, and I suspend them into water and then again look at them under the microscope. What they're really useful at telling us, the nematodes, is that they cover the whole sort of food web. There's the plant feeders, the bacterial feeders, the fungal feeders, and then the predators as well. So it's really useful to look at what the dominant, I suppose, food source for the nematodes are in the soil. And generally, as pastures become more intensified, they become more bacterial dominated, which means faster nutrient cycling, whereas we still want a bit of fungi in the soil because it's important for soil structure and a slower cycling. So the nematodes are really useful at telling us the difference. I've tried to get a whole range of land uses so that I can look at effects of management on the soil fauna as well. And I've had to collect a whole lot of samples from different soil types because the soils are very diverse in New Zealand, and soil type does play a really important role in what you find living in the soil.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.